Hey, out of focus as usual. Anyway, lads, welcome to build update number 2 of this retro build. Okay, of the Tiger 1. It's the old TAMIYA kit, and we're going to get stuck in straight away. We have it built. If you've been watching part 1, which was the build, you'll have seen that pretty basic. Most of the things were already pre-molded on. Some of the things that you did have to add on to them weren't exactly the best. Tracks were horrible, but you got to consider the time when this kit was made. Okay, I'm not making excuses, no, but the technology has really improved in kit, manufacture. So you got to take it into account that when this kit was made, this was state of the art, and it was one of the top kits of TAMIYA at the time. And also a lot of little gaps in it were there purposely put into it so that the motors wouldn't overheat, things like that, because it was made as a remote control version. So without further ado, let's go down to the bench. Let's start getting it painted. So just before I do that, I'll give a quick kind of rundown of the colours I'm going to use. I'm going to give it an undercoat, right? I'm not going to go any chipping or anything like that. It's just that I want to do the vehicle in Panzer grey. Now the plastic already is grey, so just to make it easier, so I can see what I've done and what I haven't done, I'm going to give it a coat of NATO brown. Okay, NATO brown is XF. There we go. Hide the light. XF68, okay, NATO brown. The reason I'm doing all that kind of stuff is there's a light just here, just a shadow, so you can see what it is. So NATO brown, that's the colour I'm going to give it a base coat of. Then I'm going to use this, which is XF63 German grey. That's going to be then the main colour for the vehicle, and then the usual sort of colours then for all the little add-on bits and pieces like tow cables, tools, stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get onto the bench and let's get started. Right, here we are, we're down at the bench, and I have all the little bits and pieces all ready to go. Okay, I did the filling of the shoulders on the figures, just filled in the gaps there on the where their arms meet their bodies. Okay, so they need to be stuck onto something, pins or something. I'm not really too worried about. I mean, I can grab that with the pin because you're not going to get that much of them down, so I'm not really too worried if their boots aren't perfectly black, so I'm not really worried about them. Everything else, like I said, I'm going to start off by giving it a coat of NATO brown, and that's going to be my main undercoat. So I'll get all that done now. We'll come back, we'll have a quick look and see what the NATO brown looks like. So we're sort of a tiger in brown. And here we go, as you can see, I'm after making it all brown. Okay, that's NATO brown. Just as a base colour. Did everything with it, tracks, wheels, you name it, I did it, even your men's underpants. And we've got the turret. Okay, that is also NATO brown. Okay, so stick that on there for a minute. Now, as well as them, last night, believe it or not, I got the figures done. I did them all in one go, which was quite unusual, because normally I'd kind of give them over a couple of days, but because the figures were really pretty basic, I didn't go into too much detail with them. Okay, so here we got figure 1. I have to give it a second or two now for it to... There we go. Why... That is not the colour of his face. Believe me, the colour of his face is actually quite fleshy coloured. Minute my hand goes into it, look at that, it turns a green. Take it away, it goes fleshy coloured. So that's my camera. But take it from me, it is fleshy coloured, but the rest of it... Okay, no, it looks very thick and actually doesn't look all that good from there, but his face isn't actually that kind of a greenish colour, it's quite fleshy. and yes, it's a little bit dirty, but it is flesh coloured. Why the hell is the cup coming up kind of a green colour? Okay, so there's the commander figure, and we've got the loader. Right. No, look, you see the colour of his face, that's perfect. So I'll bet you in a minute I put my hand in there, there he goes green as well. But as you can see, there's the colour of the loader's face. Right. We put the hand there just so you can get to see the kind of the detail in his uniform. When it zooms in, right, it's actually quite good. Okay, so they're not actually that bad, the figures. Again, they're the typical old kind of TAMIYA figures, so they're actually kind of quite crude. But like we said, we've got to take this these figures and the vehicle itself in the context of when it was made, as in when it was designed. The moulding, that is, not the tank itself, obviously. But it's 1970, so it's over 50 years old, and as we can get to know from, say, the modern tack-on Tigers and things like that, how much more improved the moulding processes have got. They've got them much crisper and all that, and loads of little detail, things that they probably couldn't have done back in 1970 now is kind of quite normal to us. So we've got to take that into context. So it's actually not that bad at all. But in today's terms, it's not great. So, like I said, there we have it, all done with the base coat, or undercoat, should I say? Sorry, undercoat. Now, I'm going to give it its base coat now, its main colour. For that, I'm going to use this XF63, right? XF63 German grey. Maybe it's my light is doing all that. Turn it away. XF63 German grey. Okay, so I'm going to give them a coat of that now. Okay, we'll see how that works out. We'll see how it all turns out in the grey. I can't see it making much more difference to it. I suppose when we start doing all the detail painting and things like that, we'll start probably to look a bit better. So in the meantime, I'm going to get this painted. I'll be back to you in a tick. Okay, so now we've got the German grey. Okay, that's XF63 German grey. So we got the German grey done. I'm also after, remember I had my distaste, shall we say, the only way to describe it, with the spare track links at the front. Now, I tried to do something with them. I used a bit of the Mr. Surfacer on it, right? And while the Surfacer was still kind of drying, I scraped some lines in there, gave it a little bit of kind of a texture to it, so at least it's something. It's better than just the flat, okay, better than just the bare flat thing. And remember, there was two big one, sorry, beg your pardon, wasn't two, there was one ejector pin mark along here which would be seen, so that's now covered up. So that'll get painted along with when I'm doing the tracks. But it's better than what it was, okay, even if it doesn't end up being too great, shall we say. So the next job now for this will be to do all the detail painting, okay. And the detail painting really in this consists of, right, we've got this on the side here, we've got that toe rope. The only thing about that is it's so thin. It really is. Do you know what I mean? It is very thin. So that's going to be kind of pretty difficult. We'll give it a go anyway. Also, the cleaning rods are in under the toe rope. Now they're supposed to kind of fit in between the toe ropes. There's a kind of a unit or whatever you want to call it that fitted in there. and that held the cleaning rods both sides, but they're, unfortunately with this one, they're underneath here, so I might be able to kind of lift up and paint them, get them painted anyway. Okay, so the cleaning rods, we've got the tow rope, that's got to be cleaned, or redone, shall we say. We've got the block here, for the jack block. We've got the machine gun here, we've got a couple of shovels, with the axe, wire cutters. What else would be kind of considered? On the machine gun here, whole machine gun. We've got the jack here at the back. We've got this toolbox back here. Right. We've also got the starting handle. Couple of little bits and pieces that are going to be painted up in separate different colours. Also, I got to do the rubber on the wheels, which is going to be kind of awkward enough. I'll just do the rubbers first and then do the tracks, and then we got the tracks. Okay. Now, as you see, I left most of the brown on the tracks. Colour I use for the tracks is I use red brown, because it comes up okay. It looks well. It looks like kind of a rustyish metal. Once you give it a dark wash, then you can change how it looks, be it really dark or fresh rust, or that darkened rust look that basically the cast metal gets after a while. Doesn't mean that they're going rusting and falling apart. It's just a kind of a coating, kind of a rusty coating that they get. So anyway, like I said, time to get some of the detail painting done on it. We'll come back then and we'll have a look and see how the detail painting worked. Then it'll be nearly finished at that stage. Like I said, I'm only going to do very, very light weathering in this, because I'm going to have it a kind of a factory fresh version. So use the decals, gloss coat, highlight some of the areas with pin washes and things like that, just to make panels and things kind of pop out, and that should be it. Basically, then stick in the fingers, final reveal. So we're not like I said at the very, very start, this is going to be quite a simple build, which it was, and it's going to be very basic painting as well, because I'm not doing any battle damage, I'm not doing any kind of rust and chipping and anything like that. It's sort of a fresh factory version of the vehicle. Okay, so next time we'll see it, we'll have the detail painting done, and we'll keep carrying on from there. So, see you in a tick. Okay then, so now we're after getting the detail painting done. There's the spare track. I'm just after getting it painted in the last couple of seconds, so I'm just going to put that aside until that's dry. Okay, yeah, there we go. Out of the way, nice and safe, won't get damaged. No, my luck now, something, cat's probably going to come in and jump in it or something, so it's going to be full of hair. Anyway, right, detail painting is done, right? I'll just pop off the turret so we can see that, because there is no detail painting on the turret. There's nothing that's anything but the German grey on the turret. But on the body we have plenty. Okay, just get a pointery thing here. A hairy stick will do. Right, because we're all done with this little hairy stick. Right, this is the one I used. It's an Expo Tools 20. Right, Expo Tool, pure sale. Cost me a fortune. I think it was about £3. Anyway, I've all the wood here. That's done, and even if you can look in there and at the other side, I got in there quite neatly. Hey, I was thrilled a bit that I got myself in there. For the wood, this is what I used. Okay, it's a Citadel base, XV88, right? XV88 Citadel base, right? I don't know if I haven't a clue what colour it is. It's just XV88. Nice colour. XV88, I remember it well. Okay, so for the cable here and all the metal on the shovels, on the gun, on the cables, the antennae, and also back here on the starter and on the jack, I used, where are we, dark iron, XF84 dark iron. Use a little tiny bit of silver there along the top of the hatchet, or the axe, whichever you want to call it, and also on the sort of the cutting edge of the wire snippers, because they would be shiny, whereas the rest of it would be quite dark. And I just put a little tiny little slit in here into the two little slits on the lights, just to make them kind of, look as if there's lights in there. Just ordinary silver. This is what I use, actually, believe it or not. It's war paints from the army painter. Shining silver. I've had that for freaking ages. I must have had that for about 3-4 years even. And I'm still quite a bit in there. Well, not quite a bit, there's about a quarter of it maybe. But just goes to show you, these little incidental colours, they last an awful long time. I know for a fact I have that 3 years. I use it for wood, when you can see all you're using. It's very, very little. On the toolbox back here, I used a different brown. I used NATO brown on that. Right, bit of NATO brown on the toolbox. No, on the tracks. This is just the base colour for the tracks. I used this one, XF64 red brown. I find it's a brilliant colour for a base colour for rust. Right, it really is. Give that once that starts getting washes and other bits and pieces, it'll come up much better. And a bit of dry brushing them with the silver, it makes it look good. But it is. Remember, all this is just the start. You've got to do a little bit of weathering, and it's got to get an overall wash, and it's got to get a pin wash. That's all I'm doing to this one. Just a pin wash and an overwash. I'm not doing any kind of, I say my overall wash. It's more like a filter than a wash. Rubber black here then on the rubbers there for the tires. Rubber black is number. Is that me rubber black? Yeah, it's XF85. Right, rubber black. So as you see, mostly I use Tamiya paints. I like the Tamiya paints. They work well. They work well for tiny bits of hand painting. I mean, I wouldn't, if I was hand painting the whole tank, I would not use Tamiya paint. Okay, but for for touch-ups and for little bits and pieces, it's brilliant. It really is. You can paint it on ground. But for overall, no, it's not great. I have used it in the past. I have tried it in the past, actually. I used it at the start. I used to hand paint everything, and I did not like the Tamiya paints when it came to hand painting. Not for overall colours. It started pulling the paint because it dried so fast, so it wasn't very good for that. But for small little bits like that, it's great. It does the job. As we know, I have the figures done. Right, figures, they're done. I just have them put up there so they won't get splashed or anything like that. So the next step now for this is to I'll give it a gloss coat, put on the decals, and another gloss coat again then over that. I've kind of figured out how I'm going to do the decal that goes here. I'm just going to put it on later on over them. Once it's dried in and set in, I'm just going to cut away the bit where it covers over. It gets covered over by the cable. Normally, what you do is you leave that cable off, put on the decal, and then put the cable on over it. But because that was already pre-molded on, I don't know what else to do. It's the only way I can see to do it, because it's one of these little crosses here. Goes here. We have another one then for the other side, right? It's the only thing I can think of. It's the only way I can possibly do it. Numbers for the side of the tank, I'm going to go with the SO2. I'm not going to be going for the kill rings, and for the unit I'm going to go with the white helmet there. Now, as far as I know, that white helmet is Gross Deutschland. I will have to double check on that, but as far as I know, that's what it is. And like I said, the SO2 will be the number we're going to use for it. Okay, so like I said, a couple of decals. I'll get them on. We'll see what it looks like, and carry on from there. Okay. Oh yeah, after I put on the decals, I'm going to give it a gloss coat. So next time you see it, it'll be the decals on and gloss coated. And gloss coated kind of darkens it up as it is anyway. Then we can give it the overall washes and things like that. The reason I give it a gloss coat is because I use an enamel wash. For the enamel wash, I use a bit of that, right? Oh no, that's my cleaner. That's what I use for cleaning my airbrush. Okay. Boots Surgical Spirit BP. Now I get a 500 mils of that for €5. Okay. I'm not going to show labels or anything like that, but that originally contained airbrush cleaner, and for that size was £7 sterling, and it's I think it's 300 mils. So I've been using the Surgical Spirit now for 2 years. I'll show you the airbrush I use. Okay, this is the airbrush I use. It is a cheap and cheerful Chinese off eBay airbrush. Okay, I've been using that now for about 2 years. It still works perfect. Okay, it's not very good for detail work, or for, you know, when I come into doing camouflage patterns. It's the needle is kind of slightly bent in it, so I'm going to replace it, and I'm going to replace it with another cheap and cheerful eBay, more than likely from China again. Purely I just can't afford to buy, say, a Badger or an Iwata or a Harder and Steenback. I just can't afford to buy one. I know that the ultimate UMP one is supposed to be absolutely fabulous, and yeah, I'd like to buy it. I'd like to afford one, but I can't. Like, if I buy one of them, it means I can't afford model kits, or I can't afford paints, so I'm kind of stuck to buying the cheap ones. But like I said, these cheap ones, they work just as good. And getting back to what I was talking about with the Surgical Spirit, I've been cleaning it for the last 2 years with Surgical Spirit. Right? Now I've had this brush for longer than 2 years. I think I've had this airbrush for about 3 years. You can actually go back, because it's the only one I have. Actually, I have two of them. Steve Mottram sent me one, and I bought this one then on eBay. Like I said, Surgical Spirit, I've been using on it. I use it neat, right? I put it into one of these bottles. I've just marked cleaner, right? The reason there's no marking in that one, that just contains water. Works fabulous. It still works grand. So the Surgical Spirit doesn't destroy your airbrush in any way, shape or form. So Surgical Spirit, much cheaper than buying branded stuff. Okay, so like I said, I'll be back to you now in a couple of seconds for you, and I will have the decals done and the and gloss coated. So see you in a sec. Okay then, so after getting the decals done, and I'm also after tidying up some of the detail painting. Start off with the turret anyway. They're also gloss coated as well. You know, yay, gloss coated and everything. Okay, so we've got the decals on. We've got SO2, right? There we go. SO2. Now SO2 was belonged to the 2nd SS Panzer Division, served in the Eastern Front. Okay. And if you remember when I was saying about the decals, I was going to use the little German helmet one, thinking that was the right one to use. Well, it wasn't. This is the right one to use. Okay. This is the right decal to use. That one there. That is the decal for the 2nd SS Panzer Division. We've got a cross at that side, we have a cross at the back, and also we have this one here. Now, this cable here, this tow cable here, I've been always calling it just an ordinary tow cable, you know, spare tow cable, a light one. Then found out quite recently, and it just made perfect sense, and I never thought, kind of, how come I didn't cop that before? This cable here is for when they're fixing the track, putting the track on, they attach it to one end and they can kind of pull it over. So that's what that is. That's the track fixing cable. Right. So we got the decal onto that. Right. So what I did was I just, as normal, put the decal on, up and over. These were already pre-molded on, as we know. And then once the decal was set, I use a pretty strong setting solution. Okay, and it's a good one actually. I like this stuff. This is from UMP Ultimate decal setting solution strong. Okay, that's the one I used. I went up dry. It was dry, and the decals were set. I was happy with it. They were set with a scalpel like that. I just scraped it away from where it was sitting on the cables. Repainted the cables just to, you know, make sure everything was sort of clean again. And there we go. So now it looks as if it's under the cable, so I'm quite happy with that. Right, when it came to the detail painting, I'd forgotten to paint the tanker's bar there. Okay, now that's what the chieftain calls it, tanker's bar. It's for, you know, levering track again. Okay, this block, as far as I know, is also used in the track removal system. And also another thing that I'd done was the handles for the wire snips. I had painted them as wood, but they're not wood, they're compressed cardboard, and they have a kind of a reddish, reddy brown kind of colour, not quite red brown. So what I did was I just used a red wash over them. Now, pretty strong red wash, I must admit. I used clear red, TAMIYA's clear red, and just mix it down with a bit of thinners, and just did those two little bits there, tiny little bit of it. I didn't use much. I didn't have to make down a big wash or anything like that. And also with red, I just put a little dot in there, okay, for the tail light. So, and then glass coated everything. So now it's ready now for the next stage. The next stage now would be weathering. Now, like I said, I'm not going to heavily weather this. I want this to be a tank that's just after kind of being taken over by the unit, so it's in good condition. Tigers, for some weird reason, they always sort of, when anybody does a Tiger, they tend to sort of, you know, buckle up these, because they did. I mean, they were light enough metal. They got buckled up left, right, and centre. Any photographs you see of Tigers that were in action, these things, they get shredded to bits, torn apart left, right, and centre. Did you have any scrapes or marks on it? No chipping. None of that type of stuff is going to be on this. Like I said, this is when SO2 was delivered to the unit. Okay, so it's just going to get a little bit dirtied. That's all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give it a light black wash all over. So more like a sort of a filter than a wash, just to kind of give it the kind of a dirtyish look. I use an enamel wash, that's why I glass coated it, and it kind of leaves residue in different places, so therefore that will suffice for dirt and stuff like that. I'm happy enough with that. Then I'm going to give it a pin wash just to highlight all the little separate panels and items around it. That's dry, then I'm going to kind of hopefully then we'll be finished, shall we say, at that. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to give it the final reveal. So the next time you see it, it'll be the final reveal. I'm going to get one of my old diorama bases. I'm not going to make up a whole new diorama base, definitely not for this kit anyway. but we'll give it a look anyway. We'll set it up and make it look nice, make it look pretty. Okay, so the next time you see it now, it'll be its final reveal, and we all done and dusted with this nice old TAMIYA kit. Okay, I have called it crap. I know I have called it crap, but the more I work on it, the more I'm getting to like it. Okay. Okay, and here she is. This is the final reveal of the TAMIYA's 1975, because the 1984 was just a reboxing of it, so say it's the 1975 kit of the Tiger 1. Okay, as we found with the build, it's lacking in lots of little areas. If you listen to Adam Mann, he'll even tell you that it's even out of scale. But it is an enjoyable build, as in the fact that everything fits. Everything fits in. There's no problems with the fit issues. There's loads of, shall we say, discrepancies. Loads of little things wrong with it. The wheels aren't right. Lots of other little bits and pieces. Shall we say, it's not without fault. But it's not a bad kit, okay? It's a good starter kit. I know that lots of people would love to get their hands on this kit today, even. Bad and all as it is, but it's still, you end up with a pretty nice tank for a finish, okay? And with a bit of painting and, things like that, you can end up with something very, very nice indeed. Okay, as long as you're not a rivet counter. If you're a rivet counter, forget about it. Don't even dream of getting this one. But if you're not and you don't really care too much of how it looks, then this is the kit for you, shall we say? It's a grand old job. Okay, so there she is. Hope you like it. I will put some still pictures at the end of this, so you can get a kind of a closer look at what it's like. But overall, I'm happy with it. Do you know what I mean? I can't really say it's a very bad kit. Can't say it's a very good kit, but can't say it's a very bad kit either at the same time. If you want something pretty accurate, go off and spend your $60, $70 or $80 and get and euro or pounds, whichever the case may be, and get yourself one of the good dragon kits and a bit of aftermarket, and you end up with a perfect Tiger. But that's what's after spending a lot of money. But these kits were cheap and cheerful, and that is what they are: cheap and cheerful. And you end up, with a Tiger-looking vehicle. Okay. Worst parts about this kit would have to be the tracks. Best part is the fit. The stiffness of the gun is another plus, shall we say. I have one or two kits there that you barely touch off the gun, it drops down. You got to kind of counterweight it and all that kind of thing. But there's none of that in this. Figures, not too bad. They're not great, but not too bad again. They're the pretty basic old TAMIYA figures, and these two in particular are old. They're from 1968. I was 3 when these figures were moulded. Well, when the mould was made for these figures. Okay, can't say much more than that. So that's it, lads. Like I said, I'm going to stick a couple of close-up photographs of it for a finish. And as you see, I didn't bother using the spare track links in the front. They were actually that bad. They were freaking horrible. I didn't like them at all. And I just didn't bother using them. Simple as that. Just didn't use them. I tried to sort of fix them in a couple of places, make them look a little bit better, and I ended up making them look even worse again. So that's why I'm not using them. I did say I was going to use sort of everything that was there, and I was going to use it anyway, but I did try to make them look a little bit better, and I ended up making them look a lot worse for a finish, so I decided not to go ahead with that. Okay, so there she is, one undamaged Tiger, unmolested, on its way to battle, on its way to the Eastern Front. Okay, if you like that, and you like the way these videos are going, stay tuned to the channel for more of the same, basically. My next kit is another classic old kit. You'll have to wait for the unboxing to find out what it is. It is another German one, yes, that'll be 3 German in a row, actually, and I'm thinking of doing about 5 or 6 German vehicles in a row. For some weird reason, and I do not know why, I seem to like the old German vehicles. I think they had lots of character to them. You know, some of them were pretty darn rubbish, and some of them then, you know, the likes of the Tiger, the King Tiger and things like that, they were engineering marvels of their day. They really, really were. They over-engineered, very, very over-engineered, which you know, went against them for a finish. You know, the Tiger was pretty invincible, but the fact that they didn't have enough of them, that's what kind of killed them off. Like, if the Germans had the Tigers and Panthers to the same degree that the Russians had the T-34 and the Americans had the Shermans, you know, if the Germans had sort of equal numbers, or even close to equal numbers with the Allies, it would have been a totally different finish, shall we say. Lucky for us, I suppose you could say, lucky for us. But you can't take away from the quality of these vehicles. They were absolutely superb. I was watching documentaries on the Tiger, and basically the driver said they could steer it with one hand, you know, because it had the steering wheel. It was the first tank to actually use a steering wheel. It had power steering and all of that. Whereas you look at the T-34 in this day, you'd want muscles, big muscles, and lots of work gone into it to kind of maneuver the tank around the battlefield, especially. So you know, the later in the day that you face one of those things, I suppose the better it was, because the driver was so knackered from sort of pulling at levers and God knows what else. He'd be pretty darn worn out by the end of the day. So anyway, lads, that's it. Hope you liked it. I'm going to stick some photos on it, some finishing photos of a few close-ups, and tag them onto the end of this. So if you liked it, stay tuned to the channel. Like I said, I'll have more videos up pretty soon. Don't forget to give it the old thumbs up or the thumbs down, that's your decision. I do like the thumbs up, I must admit. I'm not too keen on the old thumbs down, but let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and if you have, as always, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Okay, so I'll see you on the next one, lads. Stay safe, enjoy your modelling, and like I always say, go out and buy yourself a kit, build it and enjoy it, because that's what it's all about, lads. I'll see you in the next one, lads. Stay safe. Bye bye.